What's happening? You are tuned in to the Binge Society podcast, the podcast where nothing is in moderation. And my name is Winston Brewington, aka Radio Win.
My name is Danny Black is Beautiful Browner.
And I'm Yemi Afalabi. Say it loud.
I'm black and I'm proud. You didn't say that particularly loud. You said that rather listlessly.
Say it loud. I didn't have the James Brown stank on it.
You're not feeling the pride, man? It's Black
Say
History
it
Month,
loud.
Yemi.
It is.
It is.
You can tell by Yemi's excitement that it's Black
It
History
is.
Month.
It is. You know what it is? Is missing gifts. You gotta. I feel like all white people that had a lineage of owning slaves should give black people gifts. They got enough money, right? Just give them a gift.
That's a good form of reparations, and that would be like every year.
Until we get reparations, or give us reparations, but until we get that, like, make it like black people should get 2 Christmases. Is what I'm saying. They should
Black people Christmas,
and then Black History Month. Do you pick a day and you give you gotta find a black friend or a black person, and you just gotta hey man, what do you want? I'm like, give me a car, bro. I want a Cherokee Jeep 2021, and then get a lease.
Maybe at least like a
and give them a lease. But no, it's Black History Month. People are gonna be signaling. I'm sorry for the curmudgeon. People are gonna be signaling for a month, and then there's gonna be business as usual. But
not us though. Not us
though.
To us. Not us. No signaling here. Our pride is for real, and we've been doing it for a long time.
I'm black every day of the month, so
indeed, can't help it, man.
Black History Month for me. You know what I mean? It's kind of redundant. It's like I get it, but anyway. Happy Black History Month, everybody.
What about White History
Month? All
right.
right. So
what about White History Month? What about Spanish Week? I don't know about Spanish Week, man.
I don't know if
you got those con pollo for a week.
I'm not sure if there is such animal as a Grinch for Black History Month, but that might be Yemi Afalabi. We're gonna bring his mood up. We're gonna make it all worth it for sure. So for this month, we are very much gonna be celebrating Black History Month. Everything that we're going to be covering is going to be a Black project, which is it's not really a far cry from what we normally do. But for today, to kick things off, we have a double feature for you guys. Denzel Washington is involved in both of the projects that we're doing. One is The Little Things, starring, of course, Denzel Washington, Rami Malek, and Jared Leto. And then as the second part of our double feature, we are going to be reviewing a film that was a big part of the holiday season, and we haven't gotten around to it yet. And it stars brother Chadwick Boseman and Viola Davis. At this point, you've probably figured it out that we are covering, yes, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, another play-based movie that Yemi is so excited about. I know he loves them. If you caught his review of One Night in Miami, you'll know that he's excited for that sort of film.
Stop making plays into movies.
Ooh, hot take.
Just stop doing it. Or have, when you see a movie or something, like this image may contain imagery that upsets you, play that. So I know I'm like, oh, this is a play. All right. So then I got to change my movie watching eyes and put on my play monocle and say oh, okay, I'm watching a play.
Put on your play monocle, man.
On the Vizio television. I gotta, you know what I'm saying? If I just turn something on, I'm like, this is supposed to be a movie, and it's like, I'm gonna do a 15-minute monologue. I'm like, nigga, goddamn, warn me.
All right, well, we're getting a little bit of a preview of his thoughts there.
Just warn me is all I'm saying. If it's a play adaptation movie, just give a brother a break. You know what I'm saying?
I gotta give me one of those play monocles.
Have you tried reading a blurb before, Yemi, or
a what?
Like reading the blurb or looking up the movie before you watch it. You know what I mean?
If I do that, then 8 of them we'd have a lot of audibles. I'm not watching this, guys.
Okay.
I think it's good I go in blind, because if I watch previews and I start to get tainted with the internet, I'm like, I'm not gonna watch this. I refuse.
All right. Well, getting a sense of how Yemi feels about Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, but you won't know for sure. Maybe he'll change his mind by the time we actually get to the review. We'll see. But in any case, how you guys living in these streets?
Good, man. I'm here. Hey, look, I'm still alive from last week, so that's great.
Yes, you've kept that one eye open.
You're still alive,
that's
man.
Right. I'm still alive, man. That's good.
For now.
How's the snow up in Inglewood, Washington Heights? They
that's right.
Partying out there in the snow.
Hey, there was a lot of snow.
Yes.
A
You guys frolic?
lot.
You got your
Oh,
frolicking on?
man.
Did you do sledding or any of this horse shit I see on Instagram?
Nah.
I swear I'm turning into an old man. It is rain and snowball fights, and it's like. Meanwhile, I'm just like.
They're shoveling.
Shoveling.
Doing work.
Shoveling. I'm just like, you crazy kids, get off my lawn.
So you
Yeah, I
didn't
had-
do any frolicking, Yemi? No frolicking for you?
Yeah.
If by frolicking you mean shoveled for 5 hours, then yes, I frolicked.
Well,
Damn,
did you do it with
5
grace?
hours.
Did you do it in a sprightly manner?
What?
You're
Shoveling?
shoveling. Yeah. I'm just trying to see if maybe your shoveling can qualify as frolicking, maybe.
I mean, if you have fun while you shovel, I mean, lift with your legs, not with your back, and snot is on your nose and it's hard to breathe, and if you got like a bad back like me, you gotta make sure you're not lifting with it. It's and it's also when you own property, you gotta make sure you put ice. I don't think people want to hear about this. We gotta put like ice melting those pellets so people don't slip on your property. I'm like, I'm suing the upper lobbies for 40K. Or whatever people say when they slip and fall. Like, my neck, my back, my neck, my back.
$1,800.
I want 150,000, but I settle out of court for $20. You know what I mean? It's just like a lot of. I'm an adult now, and it's like when I see snow, there's a part of me that died a little bit this week. I'm gonna be honest. I'm like, I remember I used to make snowmen and like have snowball fights. I never did sledding, but when I see people frolicking at rent in no shade in New York, I'm just like, their landlord has to deal with that.
Oh man, Yemi is gone.
I know that's a totally like unpopular opinion,
man.
but I'm the landlord of this place, so it's not I have to deal. Anything breaks here, I have to deal with it. It's not like I can just do.
Call
I
the
can't
super.
call. My mom, she's old. She's like, what you want me to do? Fix the sink? Like, I have to fix her or get someone to fix it.
I think we should all get Yemi a
Give me like
snowblower.
$1,200, man.
Get him a
Give me that money.
snowblower.
I've been saying it since
Yeah.
episode 1. Just
But,
Venmo me
we've got
$1,200.
we've got a veritable laundry list of things Yemi hates so far. Hates snow, Black History Month, and
I never said I hate Black History Month.
You said it without saying it, Yemi.
You guys make me sound like Uncle Ruckus of the show. Y'all niggas. No, I'm just saying. I think Black History Month should be celebrated every month, like Valentine's Day. I just don't like the commoditization of things. That's just what I'm against. It's like, it's your month, so you better make sure. Then outside of that month, we don't exist and we're not going through all these plights. You know what I mean? It's like every fucking month, something happens to Black, brown, POCs. Every month you should celebrate your lover. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be one day that you feel the stress of like, I gotta celebrate it now. And I don't like that with anything. Black History Month, Christmas, July 4th, Juneteenth. I don't like to be forced to celebrate. It has to come from within. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah,
Let's get to the show.
Yes, as
Gavel
Yemi,
slam.
I almost broke the keyboard.
as Yemi Comedy just said, it is time to get into the show. And first, we're going to start with our very first
Binge of the week.
of the week, which is Little Things on HBO Max. So this starred Denzel Washington as well as Rami Malek and Jared Leto. So just to give people a background, if you haven't seen this yet, this is a crime film written and directed by John Lee Hancock and produced by Hancock and Mark Johnson. All right. So the plot follows two police officers, that's Denzel Washington and Rami Malek, who try to catch a serial killer, and it took place in 1990 in Los Angeles. So they find a strange man who was Jared Leto, and he becomes their top suspect. And also, on a side note, the Golden Globe nominations just came out the other day, and Jared Leto got nominated for a Golden Globe for this role, which was surprising to many, actually.
Sounds like it was surprising to you in particular, Winston.
It was. It was surprising,
to me that
it was
he
surprising to
nominated
Jared
for
Leto.
anything.
Even Jared Leto, they asked me, I was like, I wasn't expecting this. So
I was just phoning
tells
it
you-
in. That's
tells
me. That's me on a Tuesday.
I just figured I walked in with a lumbering gait. I had like a load in my pants, and all of a sudden I'm getting the award. All right, cool.
So let's get rolling with this review here. Let's
Also,
start off
Denzel
with,
Washington as a cop. Denzel Washington as a cop. What a novel idea.
I know. Another
Showing
one.
his range.
Another one.
I liked him in Taken. Was it Taken?
He was not in
that's,
Taken,
That's Liam Nielsen.
but he
What
was in
the
many
one where
movies.
he was
He was
the-
in many movies like Taken.
No, what was the one where he was saving the girl?
Dakota Fanning. Take
Taken?
your pick. I think there are 5 movies like
um,
that actually.
Oh,
You know
man,
which
I
one I'm
can't
talking?
remember.
Man on Fire.
Man on Fire with
Fire.
Dakota
Man on
Fanning. Right?
Fire,
Yeah.
That was a
That
good
one
movie.
was dope. That shit
was a
was
good movie.
hot. I thought it was gonna be like that, but I'll save my review.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just quickly
Let's
just off the top of your heads, guys, favorite Denzel Washington movies or honorable mentions?
Yo, I gotta say, I want to say Training Day was dope, man. I could watch that movie. He was just such a good villain, and he's always a good guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Training Day is up there. He got Game is pretty good too. Hurricane was pretty good too.
Yes.
Hurricane.
Okay,
was
we'll go with
really,
your
really
top
dope.
15 Denzel Washington
I'm
movies.
gonna say my top 15. If you have enough time, you guys got 2
that
hours
was a
to
good
spend.
movie. How much time we got?
I would just say Training Day, Man on Fire, Hurricane.
Yeah. For me, I have to go Glory, Malcolm X. The one movie that really stands out in my memory, just as a kid in the 90s, was Fallen. That was a dope fucking movie. The one where there was like a devil who could pass on his consciousness just by touching another person, and he'd walk around singing.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I don't think I
one.
ever saw that. Actually.
Is on my
Oh.
side. That's a good fucking movie, man.
Yeah, it was
Actually, I
good.
don't know if it's a good movie. It was when I was a kid in the 90s. I don't know if it holds up.
Was good.
I
as a
know.
kid.
I know. Yemi mentioned He Got Game. I loved He Got Game.
He Got Game was good.
When I was
Jesus
young.
Shuttlesworth, baby. Jesus Shuttlesworth.
That's right.
Yeah.
Rosario Dawson was in
What's
there,
the sound?
and
Everybody's going.
Ray Allen was in there. Young Ray Allen was in
Yes,
there.
indeed.
It was dope.
Jesus.
But I think maybe I don't know if it's my favorite, but American Gangster was really good as well. Remember that movie?
American
Oh,
Gangster.
yeah, yep.
He was selling that
Yeah, that shit was
that
dope.
blue, right?
It's hard to say, man.
That's right.
Inside
That's right. Blue
Man-
Magic.
That Blue Magic, yeah.
That shit was dope.
Didn't Jay-Z create an album off that?
He sure did.
created an
He
album
sure
off
did.
that.
A dope
'cause he
album
was a
too. It
drug
was a good
dealer.
album. That was a
Io,
good.
it was indeed a dope album.
Ah.
Means two things.
Well played.
Our listeners
Double
like,
on time.
tell Yemi to shut up. I know what a dope album means.
Oh man.
Holy shit! What a career this guy has had. I guess we'll
And
see.
he's still
if,
going.
If this
Still
movie
going.
measures up. So, what did you think, Winston?
What I think of this? Well,
Yeah.
I thought it was not great. It was okay. Like at first, I thought it started off all right, and I was like, all right, where is this gonna go? But I feel like nowadays there's so many like sort of true crime stories and stories like this out there. So this felt sort of like dated and slow. And I was so excited for this movie because I love Rami Malek and I love Denzel and Jared Leto. I was like, oh, this is like, how can this not be good? But I just thought the writing wasn't there. It just felt so just like bland. Like it felt bland to me. You know what I mean? Like
Maybe it seems like maybe we'll use Yemi's term, regular. I really like that.
yeah, it was sort of
It's
a
regular.
regular ass movie.
It
Like
was regular.
I hate
It
to
was
say it like
regular.
that. And,
Why?
like,
But here's the thing, guys. Regular is not bad. Regular is just what it is. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
regular,
yeah.
you know? He went to
Regular.
a lady and
Yeah.
she's like, "What size are you?" I'm like, "I'm regular." That's not bad.
What?
That's not bad.
Regular
I'm just
size?
saying, it's regular. Can I get a regular size?
Can I get a regular?
Can I get a regular size? Or can I get a regular
Sir, I have
thing?
no idea what you're talking about.
It's not remarkable. It's not outstanding. It's not subpar. It's not weak. It's regular.
Yeah,
Regular.
it was just all right, man. And also, just not to derail too much, but hot take alert on this: what the fuck is Warner Brothers doing, like with these movies? Like, I feel
It's
like
making.
all
Yeah,
these-
that's a good point.
all these HBO Max, Warner Brothers projects that they purposely put out on HBO Max, they must have known these are subpar, and they're like,
Caca.
hey, you know what? Put it on HBO Max so we can get more subscribers, and then we don't have to worry about getting all these bad reviews. in
Yeah,
the
because
movie.
WW84 was
Because this is
oh.
crazy now. We got Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Wasn't
I mean,
good.
this isn't anywhere
movie-
near as bad as that.
No.
No.
Wonder Woman was egregious on all sides.
Yeah,
How
like,
dare
no,
you.
like, no, it wasn't that bad.
But this I was out to just to piggyback off Winston, if I may. I was excited to see this because it was like Friday, and I was like, we're doing a thing with my babe, we popcorn watching it, like a Friday movie. So make it good. We had the cats, and then they were yawning like halfway through. I mean,
Yeah.
they'll do that anyway. But I was like, yeah,
They sleep 18 hours a day, to be fair.
yeah. And they're like, yeah.
I
Me
don't know if
too,
you guys.
Momo. Me too.
I don't know if you guys saw the trailer for they got King Kong versus Godzilla coming out on HBO Max.
Yo,
I'm
we
like,
should
this
watch
movie
that.
looks. It's
No,
just
but see,
CGI.
no. But that's a. I know that's gonna be bad. I'm
Yeah, it
watching
looks
it because
terrible.
it's gonna be bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Godzilla versus King Kong. Who wants to see that?
And that was gonna be in theaters.
I'm gonna be.
But
Well-
they've still got some other good things coming down the pipeline. In theory, like Matrix is something genuinely.
I'm afraid that. Matrix
I'm
is
afraid
gonna
too,
be-
but you know what I mean. Like there are movies that will be coming out on HBO Max that like I have hope for. So I don't think they're all like you say, Winston. These sorts of movies that are like we know
maybe
it's
they're
going to
having
be
a bad
poorly
like,
received.
quarter, you know, yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
hope for
Maybe
the
they thought,
best.
and maybe they thought. I don't know what they thought.
But anyway.
Let's
You
move
want to finish
to,
up your review, Winston?
yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, no, that was basically it. Like, I don't want to go too much in detail. We got a lot to talk about, but I thought it was all right. It was
What was your
all
favorite
right.
scene?
I was definitely disappointed for the caliber of actors that they had on it. It should have been much better writing, much better writing. It was just too boring for my taste. I was disappointed, but that's just my take. Danny, you want to give your take on this?
Yeah, I will definitely piggyback off of what you said. That idea that I had that was going through my head was that this was a neo-noir, this was a crime movie, this was like a psychological thriller, and there are lots of those, lots and lots and lots of those in a world where mind hunters exist, in a world where all of these different shows exist and like the true crime shows exist. It was incumbent upon this movie to do something to set itself apart and to be clever. And like you say, Winston, it was very engaging at the beginning, very gripping. And oh, by the way, spoiler alert, because yeah, this is crucial to put my time to my review of this, is that there was a lot of buildup. I was engaged definitely in the first half, although there were parts that dragged for me. But it's the climax that was really disappointing, really disappointing. I don't know. I don't want to be too vulgar, but you can imagine your own sex analogy here. Decent sex, not a big payoff at the end, basically, is what I'd liken this to. And especially in that latter portion, we got
Wait, what?
terrible. This is like, you ever had like
that
regular
wasn't
sex?
even an analogy.
Yes, it
You
is.
said what did you
I
say?
said put it. Use your imagination. All right.
Use
Oh,
your-
so you're gonna
so
make
it's
me
like-
go,
it's like-
I'll go there. It's like
Okay.
we have like if you have decent sex is good. Maybe better than regular Yemi. But then for whatever
Better than
reason, it's
regular
like,
sex, yes.
you don't always have like not every orgasm is created equally. You know what I mean? Regardless of the quality of sex. Sometimes you have great sex and it's just like, oh, okay, that's what happened. It felt good. It's better than not having an orgasm. It's no fault of the sexual escapade per se, but it's just like the climax was just, it left me wanting basically. And the latter portion of this movie, we got some terrible fucking dialogue. We actually got a moment with Jared Leto where he's like, "We're not so different, you and I." I was like, "Is that a thing he actually said?" Like, oh my god! And
Wait,
then
is this based on a true story? No, right?
I don't know, and I don't know what that has to do with what I just said. But
No, because no, I thought you meant something else. Never mind.
no, it's just that
was a brain fart.
tired old line. It was like something like straight. It's like literally something that was in Austin Powers. We're not so different, you and I. In another lifetime, we could have been friends. Like, what the fuck is happening? And
Yeah.
it had decent tension throughout, but then that ending, the plot twist at the end, just was so unsatisfying as far as apprehending the criminal at the end. They needed to do something clever for him to be caught, or for him to outsmart, or give a one up on Denzel and Rami Malek's characters, or Jimmy John, Team Jimmy John,
Jimmy and Joe Deke
Oh, Jimmy and Joe, that's right, Jimmy and Joe.
and Albert.
But it was just like unsatisfying. I guess like the big reveal for Denzel was that he accidentally killed someone, and we find that out after basically Jimmy's character, after Jimmy just gets fed up with Jared Leto talking shit and just hits him in the face. Like, what the fuck? Like, that's, and at first it was like, oh shit, that was unexpected. But then I thought about it and I was like, wait, that's really stupid. Why did they do that?
Yeah.
And then there were some satisfying moments, like the barrette reveal. That was like cool. That was a nice touch, but it was like, whatever, regular. So yeah, it's worth watching. It's worth like a lazy Sunday watch for sure. But just like don't expect to be floored by it. And don't be expect to be floored by these performances. They're good performances for sure. But I didn't buy Rami Malek as like a detective in the detective he had, the character that he was supposed to be. And I don't think it was like anything like at fault with his performance. But I don't know if you guys bought him. But for me, it was like this is
No.
fucking Elliot from Mr. Robot. Like I didn't buy him as his character until he was shell shocked at the end, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that's Rami Malek. That's the Rami Malek.
Yeah.
Empty inside, a shell of
He
a
always sounds
man."
like he's about to cry.
I was like, I thought
He
we were
always
gonna
has
get
his
like
whimpering voice.
some brooding fucking monologue on like God. It's like, do you believe in God? Well, all you fucking idiot humans believe in God. Like like one of those speeches from Mr. Robot.
Oh my gosh, shut up.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really hard for someone
Take a
like that
nap.
too, because he's
Really
gonna forever
tired.
be remembered as Elliot. But I mean, the dude has already been successful.
He's a great actor. No, he's a
He,
great actor.
he won an Oscar for
Yeah.
his role in that Queen movie. So it's yeah, I don't know. It was
I've
just
seen him in other things too, like in the Pacific before he really rose to stardom. I was like, that's a fucking actor right there. And obviously his performance as Freddie Mercury, and I'm sure I think he would be a great villain. Or if this was like an actual, like if he were actually like a brooding noir detective, I think he could do that. But this role was not for him.
Yeah, before you go to Yemi, yeah, actually, Remy's supposed to play a villain in the James Bond movie that never came out because of COVID. So I'm very curious to see how he is in that. I'm very excited to see that.
Definitely will
Whenever-
buy him as a Bond villain.
Yeah, I think that would be dope. Yemi comedy. What were your thoughts on Little Things?
I was very confused about this film. I had more questions leaving it than going in. And I really liked Denzel, and he was good. His acting was great in it. And it was not exciting for a thriller. Where was the excitement? The scene where they were playing tag on the freeway? that was after that happened. I was like, this is stupid. He's like, wait, I thought you were on this side. Nope, I'm gonna back up. Now you on that side. It's like, what the fuck is this shit? And then the whole device of the film was Denzel saw dead people or dead women, right? And he's like, I'm gonna protect you, which was also weirdly sexual. I just want to say that. It was like she was at the foot of his bed. I was like,
Yeah, wasn't she like rubbing his
is he
feet?
finna pork this poltergeist? Like, is he trying to pork her? Like, what's going on? I can't believe pork.
was
No one
strange.
says that. But that happened, and then the reveal with the with the coroner. She's like, I ain't gonna save you again. And then they flash back that he killed the girl, and that's the reason why he covers up the thing. That was the whole payoff. That's why he was the one to cover it up. I was just like, but you don't even have any evidence on the guy. You don't even know if he had an accomplice. You don't know how. You don't know if it's a copycat killer. The guy might still be killing these women. So that was where my logic brain just went on fire. I mean, this is dumb. You just killed a dude that pissed you off and might be a pervert. And yeah, maybe he might know something about the murders. He said he was a murder buff, right? When they apprehended him, they had no empirical evidence, no hard evidence, no DNA, no physical evidence. He had alibis.
Under
and
the
then
rule
you just
of
kill
law.
him.
Under the rule of law, but he had the newspapers for all of the different. No, I think the viewer is supposed to assume. That
I get it. I get it. But even
It's just they
if
couldn't get
that's
him.
your guy, what if? Because you don't know. Because he's dead. So you killed the number one suspect. And what if it happens again? So that's what went in through my head. I was like, okay, yeah, maybe. And the movie for me did not pay that off enough for me to even be like, it was definitely that guy. I'm sorry. Like, I was like, I'm not trying to be like, victim blaming, but it's like, other than him getting hard looking at the pictures and them having that like, oh, I know, we're all faulty to our own biases and shit, especially fucking cops. Get the fuck out of here, man. And that's what I was like, this movie's trash. And I got really upset about the ending because it's like, you don't know if it was that guy. You don't know if it was that guy. And what's the message? I mean, this dude shot a innocent girl with his trigger finger and he got off. So I'm like, there is no good person in this movie. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm talking about Joe's character.
Yeah,
He shot that girl because he was startled, and then they covered it up. So I'm just like, okay, that's not good. Like, I don't feel for any of the protagonists in this or the antagonists. He just worked at a refrigerator store. I don't know, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of gray.
It was just a lot of gray, and I left it like, what did I just watch.
Yeah, and they didn't really establish a strong enough relationship between the two detectives. There wasn't
They tried to
between them a little
shoehorn that
bit.
in with the little banters, like I hear a lot of things about you, you know.
Yeah, but it
Yeah.
was just like, all right,
There
we're
was that
working
one line that
together.
made me laugh out loud. He's like, things have changed. He's like, you still got to catch the guy. He's like, yeah. I'm like, things haven't changed. I'm like, ha!
That's Denzel
Things
right
haven't
there.
changed.
That's such a
Denzel,
classic
baby,
Denzel.
bring me
That's such a
that
Denzel
fucking
line.
biting, witting humor. You
He
sexy.
probably did that
Pat on some
on the
pounds though,
spot.
man. He looking like
I guarantee you that.
He probably improv that shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Sounds like a
outside of just
Denzel
me,
line.
like the novelty of watching Denzel on my screen, I would
Yeah.
say skip it. If you listen to the Binge Society, the Binge Boys, I say you can skip this one.
Yeah, I guess if you have a few extra hours, and
You're
just
better
try-
off watching WW84.
No, wait, you think it's no? Come
Wow.
on.
I'm
Wait,
joking.
this
I'm
is worse than
joking.
regular?
I'm totally joking.
Okay.
You should watch these two movies back to back. If you really want a time suck, just watch them
Oh,
back to
man.
back and scream at the TV like me.
If you want to see Denzel Washington looking very concerned, driving around in a car for a few hours
With a gun
this
out.
is- with a
He's
gun-
got a very well
that
developed
was
dad
that was
bod
the
now.
most tense scene, I would say, when he said, "How's the trunk space?" and then the Jared, like, they met on the freeway and then he drove up. He's like, "How's the trunk space?"
Yeah.
He just
keeps on
pointed at
pointing.
him.
It's like, what are
And
you
I was like,
pointing at?
"Ooh!" That was like the most like tingly. I was like, "Ooh, yeah!" And then that was it.
yeah,
That was
that's probably-
it. There was nothing else.
Well, there was
that
a time when he was like at his place. I thought there were some clever
Oh,
moments.
okay. Yeah, when
But
he
the
almost
payoff,
got caught. Yeah.
The payoff
But
at
it
the
just
end
felt like you
fuck-
said.
yeah,
It just
it
felt
falls
like an
flat.
anticlimactic climax. Where you're just like, I'm not gonna.
That was my
call you
anticlimactic
back.
climax,
I'm
by
not gonna
the
call you back after this. Just
Yeah.
unfollow
Yeah.
me. You know, like I'm not gonna.
Nah, I agree with you guys.
I'm gonna stop going to that coffee shop you hang out at. And like just, we're
I'm
not
gonna change my
see-
friends.
I'm gonna change our friend circle. Like it's.
I'm moving to a new town.
I'm moving
So-
to North Dakota. Yeah. So that was my review. I was just like,
All right. So with all this being said, before we wrap this review up, let's go a little bit beyond the binge here and talk about Denzel Washington playing a dirty cop for like the 13th.
Oh
billion
wait a minute.
time.
Wait a minute. Sorry.
Mhm.
Yeah, we don't know it was him because at the end he bought those berets, so he didn't even find any
Nah,
evidence on the guy. No.
I know
because that was the
that.
thing. No, that was the thing. The whole who done it shit. He was like, oh, to give Rami Malek's Joe character. Sorry, it just came to me because I was like, wait a minute. Oh, maybe he did do it because he found the beret, but he bought those beret from Rite Aid or whatever Stop and Shop. So
No,
they
but
didn't even
that was wrapping up the motif of being consumed by your regret, by your actions. That was all about
giving him
saving Rami from his
giving
fucking depths
him-
of despair,
not
giving him
solace,
closure,
closure, yeah.
giving him a way to forgive himself, basically.
But
I think
that
as
still
the
doesn't take
viewer-
away the fact that he did not find the beret in the guy's apartment.
Correct. But
Sorry,
I
it just
think
came
as
to me
the-
like, wait a
as-
minute, yeah.
As the viewer, I think we're supposed to be like 80%, 90% there. It's just that they can't get him. They can't get him.
do a good job of that.
Yeah.
I disagree with you on that point, but
I was
that's
still
fine.
like, Albert didn't do it. Throughout the whole movie, I was like, Albert didn't do it. Yeah, he's a creep, but where's the evidence? You gotta catch
Nah,
him.
The car, and they show the same car. They show the same. It's the same car as the
do.
beginning. So it's like
Yeah.
there's no way it
Oh,
wasn't.
well,
him.
okay, then we do know it's him. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and the girl, yeah, I guess we do know
Yeah.
it's him. But
It's like we do know it's him, but they
we
never
just-
had.
it just I
him.
don't with the
Yeah.
street justice thing that they did. It's like it didn't feel like they were the good guys. When I supposed to feel, at the end, like, yeah, they got him. It felt like you guys are pretty dirty cops.
Yeah. So
Look
how do
at
we
your
feel about
job.
that with Denzel Washington? He's done it before, obviously with Training Day.
No.
Now
Training
he's
Day,
not
he was
like
badass.
his relative to.
He was
I think in this
badass.
role, like he's not like as bad of a person, nearly as like Training Day. He can't say.
Oh, he was badass.
Joe,
in Training
Joe
Day. It's
can't
different.
say Joe can't say that King Kong doesn't have shit on him. King Kong very much had shit on Joe in this movie.
But he was so good in Training Day. I'm sorry we're talking about this too long. He was so good in Training Day that I was rooting for him at the end. I was like, no, don't kill him because he was that good of a bad guy.
He
You
was
were rooting for
loathsome.
Ethan Hawke's little fucking
Hell yeah,
green
dude.
behind the
Are you
ears
kidding me?
ass. I'm a good cop. This is how the world works. Get the fuck out of here.
No,
I'm
wait,
sorry, no.
That's a whole different thing.
That's a whole
He was
different
terrible
thing.
person. He was a terrible person in that movie.
But
everyone.
he was
like a
bad at.
dirty
He was like the dude, man. He was a piece of shit. All right, he was a piece of shit.
You are not.
Like
He's
he
not
fucked
an
over his
anti-hero
best
in that movie.
friends.
You're not supposed to be rooting for him. That says more about you.
I found myself rooting for him. Like, yeah, this guy's bad at. I mean, not rooting like what they did to my baby, like when they got shot. But I was like, damn, they just killed. They killed him.
They riddled him with bullets, my baby.
It's interesting. I don't
anyway.
want to spend too much more time on this point
we're
because
going off a tangent, but it's just like you
But no,
guys
you-
decide in the binge society world. If who were you rooting for at the end?
well, Yemi brings up a good point, and I
Training
just want
Day.
to say this because there's been a lot of television shows over the years, right, where like sort of like the anti-hero has always been a white guy, but you don't see any shows where the anti-hero is a black guy.
Yeah,
but in
like
this particular
Dexter,
movie,
Breaking
Dexter,
Bad, all these stupid
Walter
shits where they're like,
White,
"Oh, we're murderers," and you're like rooting for
Mad
Dexter.
Men.
Like, no, I was rooting for Denzel. This guy's badass as shit.
Right,
Catch him if
right.
you can. You
It's
know,
hard for
I was in The
right.
Wire. The Wire.
The Wire. You
Ring
know,
a bell. Omar.
fucking Walking Dead. Rick is a bad guy. Rick is a bad guy. He changes in season 1. You can see it. There's a
Yeah.
scene where he changes in season 1. He's like, oh, this guy's insane. He's a bad guy. He's mad with power. But just because it follows him. That's my girlfriend in the back. She's like,
Yeah, nah.
he's
you're-
a bad
I
guy.
agree with her.
He's
I
a
agree
bad
with her.
man.
I agree. Yeah, I don't know. That's
No spoilers, but he's a bad. Like if you watch it, the music they play under the scenes is like this guy's evil. He's not. It's not like la 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 la.
That's
It's
a
not
whole
no
other
flowery
thing.
shit.
Shane
Yeah.
was the one that actually went bad in season 2. Anyway, let's move on.
We
This is a
Denzel,
great
are
combo for another
off the
pod. For another
rails.
pod.
Denzel, dirty cop. Is it okay in 2021 for a black man to be playing a dirty cop?
I was more upset that he gained weight, if I'm being honest.
He is on the
I'm
Forrest
gonna be
Whitaker
honest,
diet
I was
plan,
more.
right?
I was like, Denzel, what happened, baby?
He's
You gotta
looking a
get
little
on
more
Peloton.
Forrest-
You gotta
you
work
know,
out in
Forrest
the
Whitaker
quarantine.
right
It looked
now.
like
I
he
mean-
just took the quarantine too far. Like,
Hey,
stop.
hey,
Too many
look, I
postings.
got love for Denzel. I was at
I
that.
got whole hoes in all you
myself, all right?
motherfuckers.
I was at that point during
Beatles.
quarantine myself. I know what it's like. You had a couple too many cheeseburgers, and you know what? You got to just order that Peloton, baby. Order that Peloton. You know, get on that shit like Joe
Yeah.
Biden,
Calm down.
riding that shit. You know what I mean? But but
About to
to
get a
get
row
to
machine.
the point we were talking about, um, I am a little tired of seeing Denzel playing like the dirty cop role. Like it's just been done so many times. Let's do something else. And like
And this wasn't
Denzel-
even a good one. So this one
Right.
could have, I didn't care for him as a cop in this one.
yeah, like if it's a really well written
Yeah.
movie,
Man on
and it's-
Fire, great. Training
Right.
Day, great.
Right.
Inside Man.
Inside,
Inside
Man. Yeah,
Man was
Inside
good.
Man,
was
great.
good,
Him in a suit. Spike Lee
Yeah.
joined as well. Like he's played way more prolific characters in this. This felt like a throwaway. Like, and then it's no jab at him or the actors. I thought the acting was good, if I'm being quite honest. It's just the script, the story structure, and the button at the end did not.
Yeah, but nothing. But it's okay for a black man to be playing a dirty cop, especially if it's Denzel.
I think a black man can play whoever he wants to play. If a white man can play a dirty cop, why can't a black man play a dirty cop? You know what I mean? Like I don't see anything wrong with that because it's not empirically used in media where you see. Well, I don't know. I don't see a lot of dirty black cop films. I see a lot of buddy black cop films with like an Asian or an Indian or a white dude. Where they're like, or like Die
Rush
Hard or
Hour.
something like that. Like Rush Hour. Which one of y'all kick me? That type of stuff. Bring me more of that stuff. Bring me
48
some more.
hours.
Yeah. 48 hours. Beverly Hills Cop, he was more like a rogue cop. He did it his own way, Axel Foley, but I didn't have any like problem like, well, this is problematic for me. If anything, I felt more sad for him because his story was sad. He was divorced, he was overweight. He was still a
You
lieutenant
love
or so. I
body
don't
shaming
know.
this man.
I am body Denzel. Get back in the gym, baby. Bring.
Well, look, I don't know when this movie was shot. He probably is in better shape now. I don't know how.
He's
he
getting
he
getting
actually
up in
probably
age.
gained weight for the role. He probably did.
Yeah, I'm hoping he did.
I'm sure he did. I'm
But
sure.
I didn't have any problem with that. I don't. Yeah, it was fine.
Dan, you have any
Word.
last thoughts on this?
Famous last words.
For me, it's one of those things that if I get any movie at this level of quality as a base level, I'm okay with Denzel being a cop. It's just like for some reason it's okay with me in my brain. Like there's like a cognitive dissonance between how I feel about cops, how I feel about police brutality against black people, and how I feel about how it's represented in the film. when it's sort of like this ends justify the means, like I don't know if you remember the show The Shield, shit like that. Or in this case, it's like get the fucking killer somehow. Somehow
Yeah,
my
but
brain is able to like be okay with that, and that's I don't know. I don't know if that's a good thing.
I was not okay with that. I was like, see, this is what they do, man. They hide, and that's the real part of the film. They do hide it.
Yep.
You know, they hide it and they keep it in house,
And then yep, the
and they
corner
just
as
don't
well.
promote you or they move you to a different district. Anyway,
All
yeah.
right. So to wrap up our discussion on this film, we're gonna rate this on a scale of 5. So we're gonna do 5 barrettes. If you've seen the film, you know what the we're gonna do 5 red barrettes. All right.
Oh
So
yes.
yes, just to signify. So how many barrettes do you give this film, Danny?
I will give it a 2.5.
Okay.
It's not,
Okay.
yeah. It's like in
That's solid.
between. In
Okay,
between.
that's solid. What about you, Yemi?
I give it a 1.5.
Wow.
Yeah, I would give it a 2 point. I would give it a 2 point. No, I give it a 1.5.
Okay.
I
Okay.
wouldn't even turn this movie on while I was doing other things as background movie.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah.
Strong.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it. I
I'd
wouldn't
give
waste
it
my
Wouldn't have it as
electricity.
background noise while you're having sex?
No,
And
definitely
you have
not.
a
That would take
similarly
me out of it.
disappointing climax?
Yeah, I'd be like, what are you, what is he talking about? I'd be like trying to figure out the film. Hold your leg up. Hold on. Just, like it would frustrate me, not in a
Oh my
sexy
God.
way.
Oh man, I think I'd give this two Bretts. Yeah, I think
Oof.
I'm right in the middle. It was
Yeah,
alright.
it's like
It
1.5.
was alright. It was alright.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
It was
All right,
reg.
let's move on to our other binge of the week, which is Ma Rainey's Black Bottom on Netflix. And just to give you a little bit of background on this, if you haven't seen this yet, this is a film. It was directed by George C. Wolfe and written by Ruben Santiago Hudson. And it's based off a play by August Wilson, the very well known playwright. But basically, this play takes place in 1920s Chicago during a recording session for Ma Rainey. All right. So, just on a side note, Chadwick Boseman and Viola Davis were both nominated for lead actor and actress in a drama for the upcoming Golden Globes. Well deserved, in my opinion. And the cast also includes great actors such as Glenn Thurman, Coleman Domingo, and Michael Potts. So, yeah, let's get into this review right now. Let's start with Yemi this time. Yemi Comedy. What did you think of Ma Rainey's Black Bottom?
It was good. It was. I
Better than regular?
It was better. It was good. Regular good. It was good. I enjoyed it because I knew this was a play going into it, and I gave myself enough leeway for my brain to say like it's going to be very talky, one place, not action. So once I turned that place off, it was good, and I could sink into the characters, especially Ma Rainey. I really enjoyed her character. She really carried it for me. Her swag, her being a boss, and just her telling white people off during the 1920s, which was pretty much a death sentence. And you can feel the tension that they built in that introduction scene of her getting out car, like he hit my car, like that. Empirically would get you shot or killed or thrown in the paddy wagon, and they do whatever it's called, like, but they do it to people when they say, oh, he broke his back or he suffocated himself in the back seat of the paddy wagon, where they don't cuff you and they just like go down a bumpy street. So saying that to say, I really enjoyed her as Ma Rainey, and just seeing Chadwick Boseman, that just brought up a bunch of, I don't know, emotions. Like, damn, man. And if that was the last movie, you could tell he was losing weight.
Yeah.
He seemed a little thin, so I was just like, damn. But yeah, August C. Wilson, African American playwright, and I dug it. I really liked the themes of this film, I would say. And yes, there was, to me, again, no conflict, but again, this is with a caveat. I understood that this is more of a play, more about the themes, more about the time, and more about the story of like Ma Rainey, her impact on the culture of blues. So once I turned that on and it was more, this felt like more like something you would play during Black History Month in the class, like African American History 101. I was like, and once I turned on that student brain and I was like, let me learn some infotainment, it was okay. It was good. It was good. Not great. Not like, oh my gosh, this is one of the greatest masterpieces of Black cinema I've ever seen. But I could deal with it. I wanted more of Ma Rainey, more of her little Jezebel, her little side piece or whatever that was. I was like, oh, this is sexy time. Levy was a great character, just I'm just very talky, but again, understood like that was his character, and
It's
yeah, he
fast
was just trying
talking,
to
man.
get paid. Yeah, he's a fast talking, jive talking, trying to get paid, baby, trying to get paid, trying to get laid, jive turkeys. No, that's more 70s. But yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. I appreciate the brevity of this. I appreciate that it was 90 minutes, that it was a cool like hour and I'm done. Nothing else. Nothing.
They cut out a lot from the original play, by the way. They cut out a
Good.
lot.
Because if it was, I would say 20 minutes more, my rating would have been like, this was bad. Because I don't want to see a play on movies. It's just like I said, I have to put on my monocle and be like, oh, I'm at the theater in my home during COVID. It's just a whole different. No, I'm not. So
Were
yeah,
you
it's
wearing a
good.
tuxedo?
No, I was wearing sweatpants.
But you had your monocle though.
I wish I
Sweatpants
had
and
a
monocle.
monocle. I wish I had a monocle. Give me a monocle. One of my eyes is dead too. I think it's my right eye is dead. It can't get better with lenses. That's what the doctor told me.
You got a dead eye. Oh shit.
She said,
Damn.
your eyes dead,
Learning
boy.
something.
You dead in your eyes. I don't think you should be saying that as my optician. Optician?
Optometrist?
Is it optician?
I don't know.
Optometrist, I think.
Optometrist.
Optometry. It was a good.
Yes.
It was a good thing we saw. It was good cinema. I liked it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Let's go to
Was not
Danny
regular.
B. Danny B,
Yes.
what were your thoughts on Ma Rainey's Black Bottom?
Indeed. Well, I'm just glad I can rest easy that Yemi at least enjoyed this a little bit. There was some fireworks last week when we disagreed over One Night in Miami, and I think similarly to that film, the joy of this film for me is in its themes, in the substance of the discussions that come up that are, not they're pretty thinly veiled discussions that extend to real Black issues. And that's definitely something that August Wilson is very much known for. I love the whole sort of play aesthetic, and this very much had a lot more of that play aesthetic as compared to One Night in Miami. I think a lot of the symbolism, a lot of like the monologues, soliloquies, or whatever you call them, are very play-like, and obviously it comes from a playwright, so that makes sense. But things like the symbolism of the door, very much a play, not typical of like a movie. And then I love the symbolism there. We can talk about that a bit later. And even just the end and the climax and how the movie ends in that twist, the idea, spoiler alert, give you a second to go away. But at the end, Levy kills Toledo, who is kind of represents the sort of Malcolm X one side of the binary that's part of this discussion, but kills him. And I think that the way that happened was something that makes more sense in a play than it does in a movie, if that makes sense. So like certain choices like that, like Yemi says, you kind of have to put on your like, I am watching a play hat. Speaking of play, by the way, Kenny Brunner, my father, actually, when I was a kid, he was in a production of this play and he played Toledo. He's a piano player and he actually took up the role of Toledo. And that was interesting to talk to him about that. He was talking to me about some of the differences between the play and the movie, and that the play was a lot longer. The play, actually, the aesthetic was not, and this was something I appreciated about the movie, is the mise en scène and the choice to have to have its, I'm using that freely, baby. Thank you, Yemi.
Word of the month.
Or something like that. But the fact that they said it in the summertime and the aesthetic that created, I loved Viola Davis. She has to get best.
She was
actress.
brilliant, and I
She
love the
has to
makeup.
get
I love that they made her look
Yes.
greasy.
Greasy.
give me
She
that
was
grease.
sweating the whole time.
Love it.
Her affects, the way she talks, the way she talks about the blues, the way she takes care of Sylvester, the way she's just walking around these her manager and the music producer, at the recording studio, was such a joy to see. It was amazing to see, of course, Chadwick Boseman on so many different levels. Number one, there were some harrowing moments that were just, kind of meta, his arguments and his being a lost sort of soul, and his things like calling out God and the ideas that you know that he was going to get his. It has those meta moments. It was like, oh no, Jared. He's like actually like when Coleman Domingo's character. By the way, love Coleman Domingo. He's becoming one of my favorite actors, just bar none. But that idea is that you know you're gonna get yours. It was kind of like a meta moment. It's like, yeah, fuck, sorry, man. So that was sad, but it was amazing just to see him in such a role that really showed his range. We're so used to him being a sort of not all knowing, but he plays characters that has shit figured out. You know what I'm saying? He plays well grounded, balanced characters that know where they're going, know what they're doing, and I'm thinking about like his role in The Five Bloods, Black Panther, obviously things like Jackie Robinson. So it's interesting to see him in this sort of fool like role. But yeah, I really, really love this movie. Really, really love this movie.
Yeah. Now I'm with you on that. I loved this film, man. It was so good to see Chadwick Boseman, man. I mean, it was mixed emotions because I was like, man, this is so good to see him, but then I'm like, damn, I'm never gonna see him again in anything.
Yeah.
And that shit hit me hard. And when he had that monologue where he's talking about, you know, his mother, man, I just got so like I got a little choked up and I'm just like, wow, like this is fucking acting. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is a fucking actor. He was so good. And the fact that we won't be able to get any more work from him is so sad in a way that I can't even describe.
Yeah.
And
His
like, he just,
process, man.
yeah,
Just
it's
quickly shout out his trumpet
incredible.
playing. I used to play trumpet
Yeah,
in a
that's right.
past
You
life,
did.
and he nailed that. He
Yeah.
really, really nailed that. Apparently, he went and got. He wanted to learn all that. He wanted a fingering chart, so he learned how to finger it properly. So
Ah, I
as
didn't
far
know
as
that.
like you know, it's kind of impossible for him to like look like he's actually playing the trumpet without actually doing it. But it came as close as you possibly can.
Yes, absolutely. And then of course, Viola Davis is amazing. She was so good in this, and you know the whole scene about power and her just wanting to a coke. It was all just to like fuck with the people who own the studio. You know, basically. I mean, she wanted a coke, but she's like, no, I make money for y'all. You're gonna get me a fucking coke, and it was like a whole thing. And I fucking loved that and how she drank the whole coke first before she sang and all that shit. Like that was done on purpose. That was awesome.
Yeah.
So much like just swag she brought this like swag and this demeanor. It was fucking perfect. I know purposely like she like put on weight and all this stuff for this role, and I thought she was incredible. So I really hope from a personal perspective that both of them win awards for these roles because they both deserve it. Obviously I wish Chadwick was here to accept it, but you know that is as life is. So moving on from that, we got to go beyond the binge. So Danny, could you take us into this part? I know you had a few things that you wanted to mention on the pod.
Yeah, so we wanted to get into the substance of the discussion that comes up here, and it's very much connected to issues within the Black community, which is, you know, very much what we're all about here at Binge Society. And one of the things that really stuck out for me was the monologue performed by Toledo, the character Toledo, um, and that discussion of the leftovers, that we're the leftovers. And I was really, really curious about that. And I looked up the script, and there's parts of it that was cut out, but I want to ask you about the first part that is actually in the movie. I'm going to kind of read it. I'm not going to try to perform it. I am not that sort of theatrical actor, but these lines, I want
Perform
to
it
know what you
now.
guys think about this concept. I guess I am an actor. How about that? But I want you guys to kind of react to what we saw in the movie, these lines here. So he starts out right by saying that like everybody comes from different places, right? Come from different tribes and things. And after a while, you begin to make one big stew. You got the carrots and the peas and the potatoes, one out over here. And over there, you had the meat, the nuts, the okra, yada, yada, yada. And you mix it up. And then one thing after another, you end up with a stew. And it's like, so now you take and eat that stew. You take and make your history with that stew. All right. Now it's over. Your history's over. And you done ate the stew. But you look around and you see some carrots over here, you see some potatoes over there. That stew's still there. You done made your history and it's still there. You can't eat it all. So what you got? You got some leftovers. That's what it is. You got leftovers and you can't do nothing with it. You're already making you another history, cooking you another meal, and you don't need them leftovers no more. What to do? So we's the leftovers. The colored man is the leftovers. Now, what's the colored man going to do with himself? That's what we're waiting to find out. But first, we got to know we the leftovers. And that's kind of where it ends there. So I want to get your thoughts on that portion so far, that concept of leftovers, before I read the latter portion of it, which I think adds a different layer to this.
I mean, yeah, that's some deep shit, man. It's some deep shit. And when as watching it, during the film, I was just like, black folks as leftovers. And I was like thinking about the definition of leftovers and what a leftover is. And I'm just like, something that's, leftover on just putting on the side, after you have your big meal or whatever. It's just like the stuff you put in the fridge, you have it maybe the next day, the day after that sort of thing. And I was thinking about black folks and how that correlates. And I was like, man, I really stewed about that for a little bit. And I was like, so I'm still not 100% what it means, but I think I kind of get what he's saying. It's sort of like, black folks are sort of left as, we're sort of left holding this, like, it's really hard to explain. I guess it's just like we're left with this. We're in the state where we're trying to make something of ourselves, but it's like we aren't quite sure what to do. If that makes sense. Like we've had so much sort of taken from us, and so it's hard. And so, like, because we've had so much taken from us, it's like, all right, what do we take now that we are sort of like on the side? We're like, we're like sort of like the afterthought, I guess, is like a way to think of leftovers. It's an afterthought. It's like, all right, whatever, we had the main course already, it is what it is. We put the other shit in the fridge. What do we do with this? And it's hard to know. And I feel like it's something that we're still grappling with, as a community, because there's no, I think, one answer for it, really, because everyone's in different positions. Even in the African diaspora, there's just people all over the place who are in different positions. And so it's really hard to know. That's what I think anyway. That's my thoughts. What about you?
Yeah,
Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so we're the leftovers. First, black people got to recognize that we're the leftovers. What does that mean to you?
To say black people are the leftovers is to take away American history and act as if we weren't an integral part of building America, which we are from the beginning. So I would not say we're the leftovers, and I wouldn't agree with that sentiment at all, because black history is American history. So why compartmentalize and say we are the leftovers? When he's saying we are the leftovers, or in that piece of the monologue, what I assume he means is the leftovers of the master, like the people that own America, like black labor or slaves or descendants of slaves are leftovers. Ergo, like, they built America, they built the infrastructure, it's here, they built all the wealth. So, but the leftover wealth doesn't go to us, it goes to those families that own America. It doesn't go to black families. We don't even get reparations. We were joking about that earlier. So we're the leftovers, which is probably why we don't get reparations. I mean, there's been other disenfranchised races, like the Japanese, some Jewish people the natives that have gotten some form of reparations. But that's different because they are not leftovers. They're not people that, I mean, for the most part, built this country with labor. So I'm making a distinction when I say that. So
at the behest of the masters.
Yeah, exactly. So I understand what he means when he says leftovers, but I don't agree with that sentiment at all. What I would say is, no, we are the meal. Black people built this country. What are you talking about? We built the culture. We built the food. We took care of your kids. What?
Well, let's see how.
But that's my take. I would disagree.
And that makes
with
sense. That makes sense based on what I just read and what's included in the movie. I'm gonna read you the next portion that's actually in the play. And for me, I wish this was included in the movie because I think it really offers a different perspective to this concept. So this is where I left off. So now, what's the colored man gonna do with himself? So now, what's the colored man gonna do with himself? That's what we're waiting to find out. But first, we got to know we the leftovers. Now, who knows that? You find me a nigga that knows that, I'll turn any which way you want me to. I'll bend over for you. You ain't going to find that. And that's what the problem is. The problem ain't with the white man. The white man knows you're just a leftover because he the one who done been eaten and he know what he done ate. But we don't know that we've been took and made history out of. This is kind of what you're talking about, Yemi. Done went and filled the white man's belly, and now he's full and tired and wants you to get out of the way and let him be by himself. Now I know what I'm talking about. And if you want to find out, you just ask Mr. Irvin what he had for supper yesterday. And if he's an honest white man, which is asking for a whole heap of a lot, he'll tell you he done ate your black ass. And if you please, I'm full up with you. So go on and get off the plate and let me eat something else.
Wow.
So this latter portion really turns it on its head. And it's making it more of like, this is about white greed. We've been used and
I agree with the latter of that monologue, because then he ties it together to make a succinct point saying you've been used, we've been used pretty much, which is the hypothesis of this monologue or whatever the main
it changes everything.
It's
Everything.
choice not to include
black people still being used. I mean, like, it hasn't stopped. And I mean, this was about the music industry, and what more egregious offense of like black music being stole than today? Like hip hop is like born in the ghetto from Puerto Rican, black, Dominican, Cuban immigrants or just disenfranchised people, and it is a global phenomenon. I can't see any fucking Geico has hip hop shit in it now. Insurance, the whitest shit ever. It's like, come Geico. I don't know the commercial, but whatever. I don't know what I just tried to do. I think I had a slight stroke, but you know what I mean.
Had a couple today.
It sells everything, you know. Like I remember Iggy Azalea got in trouble a couple years ago because she was whatever appropriated. Now that shit is, you don't hear people saying that anymore. Saying like, you know, Machine Gun Kelly or what's his face with the tattoos.
I mean, Iggy Azalea was the worst though, because she was Australian and then putting on a fucking affect,
like Post Malone and all that.
Like,
you know what I mean. But it's just like, it still sells to this day. So like to even double back on it, it's like, nah, they still eating the leftovers.
But I'd argue though that like that this idea that white people know we're the leftovers. I agree with the sentiment that we've been cast aside and they're moving on, and they had moved on. I mean, this was supposed to be contextual.
No, people want to move
1927. But what I'm saying is like, there's a lack of awareness. I think white people need to know that black people are the leftovers too. And I say this because I like what people forget. And this is part of like them moving on, is this idea of like, hey man, slavery was that was in 1865. It's been long over. Oh, the Voting Rights Act was however many years ago. Segregation ended however many years ago. Get over it. Get over yourself. Come on.
Yeah, people want to move on.
And then even white people should be able to sympathize with this and see this happening. It's typical abuser behavior. We see the GOP doing this with their like, let's move on, let's unify after the Capitol riots, after the Capitol fucking insurgency. So or the Capitol insurrection rather. So we see this happening again and again, actually. And so I would argue that maybe white people don't know that we're the leftovers. They need to be reminded of that.
Can I just say something? Could you imagine if that happened and it was like a group of like Black Lives Matter protesters against like a police force? Could you imagine the headline? Like, can you physically imagine seeing that on TV?
Oh yeah. I can. It'd be dead bodies everywhere.
I couldn't even imagine the massacre that would have happened.
All over the Capitol steps, dead bodies.
I could not even
bodies.
imagine.
I can imagine
them allowing a horde of Black Lives Matter protesters getting riled up like that, like they did, and then storming a Capitol, storming a precinct like in Harlem or some shit. It would be crazy. But anyway, I agree. I would say some white people, not all white people,
not all white, of course,
some white people, some Caucasians do want to move
like
on.
at least 75 million white people,
and I do agree with that rhetoric, but it's not in the direction we want. They want to move on and forget like this shit never happened, and not letting the roosters coming home to roost, or the chickens coming home to roost. Like it's like, nah, like we're still affected by those policies. We're still affected by this history. If everything was pretty much even, I'll even give you 50-50 as far as like generational wealth, then we wouldn't be having these conversations. We'd be talking about like, hey man, you want to get some hummus? You know what I mean? Do you want to go work out at
That's the
Bally's
conversation
or
I want to
whatever?
have.
Some
But
hummus.
instead, we're still talking about racial injustice, abortion, COVID impacting more people of color. We have like soup kitchens still, incarceration. It's still the same shit. But people want to move on and say like, fucking get a job, everything is equal, Obama. Or people just say Obama as if that's
Right,
synonymous with growth, or it's synonymous with like history being erased.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
8 years minus 125. You know, like you're trying to do the math. I'm like, that's still like 100 plus years
Yeah.
of like institutional, like you said, leftovers, where it's like we're still trying to figure it out. And again, this is sans reparations. No 40 acres and a mule. They burnt Black Wall Street. So it's not like as if we didn't try to reconstruct. We did. But anytime there was an inkling, a thought, a step in progression and financial independence, shit got shut down.
Even if it wasn't like straight up segregation, like obviously, and this is a big.
Well, there's
part
a
of this
whole thing where
movie,
people thought
the
we
whole-
should have
the
like
whole
not
record
segregated,
deal.
but that's a whole different
the-
like.
The whole
people-
like record deal dynamic is like
Yeah.
basically that's the sharecroppers model.
Yeah,
That's
pretty
what that
much.
shit is.
Yeah.
Sorry,
And
we're
she
running
said
out of
it, she's-
time here.
Yeah, sorry.
But I want to get to one more topic, and it's a big theme. The other big theme that comes up in this movie, and you mentioned it earlier, this issue of agency and power. We saw power and agency with Ma Rainey, performed brilliantly by Viola Davis, and we also,
boss.
in my opinion, we see that, and I think it's this theme really and motif plays out through the tragedy of Levy. And it speaks to the larger issue and need of agency within the Black community. And what we see is basically at the end of the movie, Levy, he's promised to record his songs. He doesn't care about being fired from Ma Rainey's band because to him, he's got what's coming to him. He's put the time in, he's got the talent, and he's going to get that record deal. He's going to make money. He's going to have a band, and that's what's promised to him. But he doesn't get what's promised to him. And then the end result is that he lashes out at a brother that's close to him in Toledo and ends up stabbing him. And for me, the way this plays out is highlighting the need for agency and the reason that the lack of agency that historically Black people have had or not had leads to a lot of the things that I feel like a lot of outside observers, and by that I mean people who are not Black, especially white people, who observe and judge Black behavior and issues within the Black community, whether it be Black on Black crime, which is obviously the most approximate example that we saw play out in this movie with Levy and Toledo, whether it's like you said, abortion, domestic abuse, and more recent times, think about the example of like burning down Target and shit as a response to racial injustice.
Riots.
But all this comes down to is like agency, which is a basic human need. People don't realize that it's a basic human need. People have to have some kind of power, some kind of control over a certain amount of aspects of their life. And when you don't get that, when you don't have that power, the few places that you do have power become distorted, especially when your role model for how to use and deploy that power is coming from white people over the course of 300 years. And the way they deploy that agency is by exploiting everyone. So saying this to say that on the one hand,
violence.
this project needs to be a window for white people and anyone as an outside observer to understand why this happens. There's no agency. There's for so long, there's been no power within the Black community. So who do you exude power over? The people closest to you. The only people that Black people have been able to exude power over is other Black people or people who are on the rung below within the hierarchy of Black people. Black men, then Black women. That's where you get the domestic abuse and things like that. So people.
What about Black on Black crime?
And Black on Black crime? Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
So it's like it all comes from that lack of agency. It distorts everything. And then, like I said, our role model for how to deploy agency was one of the worst, if not obviously the worst that you could possibly have for 300 years.
No, absolutely. So to bring this currently, right? So Toledo got killed because he stepped on a pair of shoes, right? Now, how many times do you think this has happened in real life, right? Someone steps on a pair of fucking Jordans of another dude. Like that shit has definitely happened current day. And that what is that first? And it's all the same mentality, because all that money that people think that is like, oh, it's like status to them. It's like, oh, I got these Jordans, so it makes me a better person, or I'm higher status. They don't care about you. Like brand Jordan doesn't care about you. Nike doesn't care about you, and it's like, not to go like off the rails, but it's the same concept. It's like his power was in those shoes, that he could afford those expensive shoes, and that he was, and then because someone stepped on him, he had to stab him because it gave him some power over the situation, and he was left with nothing.
Yeah, but it's not, in that case, it's like it's about the shoes, but it's not about the shoes. And I wonder, for so many different people, is it really about the shoes? No, but it's about that need for agency.
Yep,
my view.
Absolutely. All right, Joe. Should we wrap this up?
I think so. So final reviews?
Yes, final reviews it is. So here we go. How many cold bottles of Coca-Cola on a hot Chicago day do you give this film, Yemi?
Out of 5? Out of 5 bottles?
Yes, sir.
I give it 3. I give it 3. Right in the middle.
Okay. What about you, Danny?
5 fully carbonated and well chilled Coca-Colas. That was actually in the original script. They call it Coca-Cola.
Oh, Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know it's a southern thing.
Yeah. I give it a 4.5. 4.5, man. I'm very close to you. This is tremendous acting, man. Tremendous acting. The acting was, Chadwick Boseman, Viola Davis acted their ass off, and also Coleman Domingo as well his character was also vital in a way too, because he was also kind of like he's trying to keep the peace and all that stuff. So shout out to him, man. He's great.
Trying to keep Levy grounded, and he was right. It's like, hey man, and I've been there too. We've all been Levy, right? We've been that dude. Like even literally as a trumpet player, I've been Levy. Like when I went to university, I started out at Penn State playing trumpet. But I got disillusioned because they wanted me to play a certain type of music. I was like, no, I don't want to play that. I want to play this. But it's like, at the same time, though, it's incumbent upon Black people to have a certain level of savviness, which is something that white people don't have to do. We have to have a certain sort of like academic savviness to navigate this world and be able to see a few steps ahead, to not have, we don't have that privilege of being like, nah, I don't want to do that. I'm just going to do this other thing. Because you don't always have those opportunities. And that's how that scene with the door, that's what that exemplifies. You bang your head against this door, you're banging against the door just to get through, only to get through and find out there's a fucking dead end there.
Yep.
All right. Well, on that note, hit us up, write us an email. If you've seen Little Things, if you've seen Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, let us know what you think. Let us know what you think about the podcast. Binge Society Podcast at gmail.com. Binge Society pod on Twitter and also on TikTok. And you can also just visit our website, bingesocietypodcast.com. And of course, Binge Society on Instagram. Yeah, we're there. Yep.
Yes, we are.
Yes. So thank you guys for listening. My name is Winston Brewington. You can find me on Instagram at Radio Win.
My name is Danny Bronner. You can find me on Instagram under the name Danny Bronner. How about that shit?
And I'm Yemi Comedy. You can find me under Yemi Comedy at Instagram doing
jazz hands.
Doing jazz hands.
Happy Black History Month, man. Find a Black person, give them something. Give them something good. Give them a treat. Give them some money.
Give me
free therapy.
Some shit. Something.
Give me equity.
Give them equity. Give them a free stock, huh?
Hey, maybe some GameStop stock.
Give them free crypto, man.
Yeah. Give me some Bitcoin. Give me some
Dogecoin. Dogecoin went up.
That's I don't understand why people don't get me started.
All right. Anyway, if you need stock tips, you can hit us up on the email. We'll hit you back with some stock tips.
I will tank your portfolio. Do not get at us for stuff. Don't get at me. I don't know shit.
Thank y'all for listening once again. We'll see y'all next week, or yeah. You know where to find us.
Stay safe, man.
Stay safe out there.
Wear your mask.
Wear your mask. Peace.